Good morning, it's Chuck and Baker, another edition of the Veterans Reporter News. Well, today we have a show that is decidedly not military and not veterans related, although you might say it is a little bit. A few months ago we interviewed comedian Michelle LaFong. Now, Miss LaFong has inherited some puppets and some routines that were originally produced by a fellow by the name of Senor Wences. Now, you older veterans who watched the old Ed Sullivan show, you may remember that particular act. Now, Senor Wences has passed away some time ago. Michelle LaFong has inherited some of the puppets and some of the routines. So we thought it would be interesting to bring her interview to you and kind of a nostalgia piece for you older vets and some enlightenment for you younger vets. So we are going to take a quick commercial or two, and when we come back we're going to go into part one of Michelle LaFong.
Welcome to Boulder Palms Apartments. Hi, I'm Kathy.
And I'm Bill.
Is the high cost of your rent getting you down? What if one check could do it all? Now it can at Boulder Palms Senior Apartments, and a $99 move-in for veterans. The amenities you deserve at the price you can afford.
Qualified veterans 55 and up, call today to see our great one-bedroom apartments. Remember, all utilities are included. Call Boulder Palms Senior Apartments. Need a place?
Check our space.
Need a place?
Check our space.
Tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to do jokes and things.
How'd I come to do jokes? Wow, I realized I couldn't do anything else. And since I was getting in a lot of trouble in every profession I was in, I just figured, you know what? I should just do what I do.
And what were those professions?
You know, everything from I had my own kosher deli from when I was 18. Mm-hmm. That lasted 3.5 hours.
Okay.
I'm exaggerating. It was really closer to 4.
All right.
And really 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Was that here or back east?
It was back east.
Yeah. Did you make a heck of a corned beef sandwich?
I made a heck of an everything sandwich. Unfortunately, no one purchased any of those sandwiches.
I see.
However,
yeah.
I got a good deal on the meat.
Yeah.
You see?
Do you still?
That was the beginning of learning what the cruel world can be like.
The cruel world. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any of that corned beef left? Did you bring any out west with you?
What do you think? No,
okay,
not.
Okay. I'm just checking with you.
Not quite. I was a drummer in a punk rock band.
I see.
Yes, called Baby Bones.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. What were some of the songs you played? Do you remember the titles?
Yes. Electroshock. Hey, listen, we were playing places like Max's Kansas City in New York and Hurrah, and we were about to be signed by Sid Bernstein.
Who was a big producer,
yes.
director, yeah. And what happened?
The band broke up.
Oh, I thought maybe he tried one of your corned beef sandwiches and said, forget that. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, then I'd have a book, you know?
Yeah,
which I'm
okay.
sure I'll have soon anyway.
So what brought you out here?
Writing about Chuck Baker is what I'll be doing.
And Baker, actually.
Yes.
I have a middle initial, you know. But
I can't be responsible for initials now. I'm lucky to even remember my own name, no less an initial.
Well, we have. See, there's other Chuck Bakers who are journalists around the country, but I'm the only Chuck N. Baker. And the N stands for Nevada, so that's easy to remember, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I have no excuse?
No excuse.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to think it's L because it's Las Vegas. That's what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
I know myself already.
Okay. So, listen, I never would have guessed you were from back east because you don't sound like you're from
I know.
the East
People
Coast.
think I'm from Mississippi all the time.
Yeah,
they
but,
can name that tune in one note, I'm afraid.
But what brought you to Nevada?
I actually, Debbie Reynolds Debbie Reynolds did. No, my first gig actually was Crazy Girls. I was the host of Crazy Girls at the Riviera. That was my first.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my. For those people who don't know, it is a topless review, and but they paid me extra to keep my shirt on. And I'll tell you, I still resent that. Well, I really do. They missed out on a lot of comedy because of it.
You know that sounds like a great gig. Why did you leave?
Well, it wasn't of my own accord. Actually, you know what? There was a host at the time named Jonna Steele. Do you remember Jonna Steele?
I think I do.
She was a transvestite. Well, sorry, excuse me, I misspoke. A transgender.
Transgender, okay.
Beautiful. I should hope to be this beautiful in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And she was a perfect host. And let me tell you, she looked terrific topless. She was probably the best looking woman on the whole show.
The whole show. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, turns out the only reason I was flown in from New York to do this show was because her contract was up for renewal, and I guess the producer was trying to make a point that she better settle for a lot less money because he had other plans.
Yeah, I understand. So how many weeks did you do that gig? Like 1 week or something?
No, it was a 3-week.
3-week deal,
yes,
okay.
A 3-week gig, and it was very awkward. Not for me, but well, yes, for me too. It was very awkward because you know how it is when there's no room for another person and you're both looking at each other and everybody knows, what are you both doing here?
Yeah.
The same job? That's like having 2 bus drivers and not even a bus.
No, that is tough. I've been there. But listen, one of the reasons I wanted to talk with you tonight is because you do, when you do comedy in town, and I know you've played at different places, and you kind of do a family show. And we have a lot of veterans out there who have families and they want to take the kids to see shows and whatever. And there's not a lot of family shows on the Strip,
you
like you're
think
saying.
So?
Well, there's Crazy Girls, and there's
Crazy Girls. I notice when you say it, it sounds a lot crazier.
Yeah,
it sounds like the girls are crazy.
The girls are crazy, right? Well,
yeah.
because we're a family radio show, so we have to, slant the words a little bit.
I see.
But
so my background then is wonderful because I was mentored by Debbie Reynolds and
I was just going to say,
Mason.
well, let's talk about Debbie. How did you come to meet Debbie and whatnot?
Actually, after the Crazy Girls experience, it was such a wonderful experience that I tried to move here. And I was looking to get another job, and there weren't any jobs.
Was that the first time you'd been to Vegas?
It was. Yes,
okay.
It was. And then I started looking to produce my own show because I've been a producer for many years. I used to book Joy Behar and Ray Romano, and I gave Kevin James his first job.
Does he appreciate you for that?
No. And that's another thing we're going to talk about. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
But Ray Romano, believe it or not, who doesn't, owe me anything at all. He did a wonderful job opening for me. I asked him to open for me when I had my own show in New York, and I knew he was going to be a big star.
The least he could have done was put you on his TV show, don't you think?
Well, maybe I was busy.
Oh, of course.
Of course I wasn't,
why
but maybe I was.
Yeah.
It could happen.
It could happen.
Yeah,
so let's
it could
go back
happen.
to Debbie. So how did you meet Debbie Reynolds?
Well, you know what? I'm trying to remember exactly.
Maybe we ought to call Debbie and ask her. Maybe she remembers.
I loved it. Debbie just did my show, my radio show. I have a radio show too.
Yes, I've heard about
Yes.
that. I don't know if anyone else did, but I've heard about it. Yeah.
Las Vegas Backstage Talk.
But is it actually on radio or is it on the internet?
No, it's on radio. It's
on
here
this station?
on 1230. Yes.
I thought it was an internet show.
It might as well be.
Okay.
We're on the internet too. That's why.
When is that show on?
That show is on Thursdays. We were on tonight. I had Tony Orlando on today.
At what time was that?
That was from 7 to 8 p.m. PST.
Okay.
Oh, sorry,
Well,
6 to 7.
6 to 7.
6 to 7
No wonder no
p.m.
one heard it. You give them the wrong time.
That's
you know.
right. But hello, we are archived. If you missed it, it's archived on LasVegasBackstageTalk.com.
I'll tell you a little story about Tony Orlando, as long as we're
really?
talking. Yeah, well, when I lived in L.A., I covered a show years ago, the American Music Awards. I think they still have that around town. But anyway, Tony Orlando got an award that year. I think he won top vocalist that year. And I was there. I took some photos. And then fast forward 100 years later, he played here in Vegas, and I was here in Vegas, and I interviewed him backstage. And I told him, I said, you obviously don't remember me, but I was at that American Music Awards in Santa Monica back in 1856 or something. And he said, "Oh, if you got photos?" I says, "Yeah, I took your picture." He says, "Oh, would you get those for me? I don't have any pictures." I says, "Well, look, I've got them, and I do have them, but I said, they're in my dusty old files." I said, "So if you hang in there a few years, I'll get them for you." So I'm still looking for those, and when I get them, no, I am. When I get them, I'm going to call Tony and say,
Boy,
"Hey,
you're right on the ball, Chuck.
Listen,
I gotta say.
Well, I've been doing a lot of stuff for a lot of years, so it's not like I can go to one file. I mean, I've interviewed the great and the near great, so I got to find these things when you start going back to the old days.
So you're not organized, I take it, with your picture taking.
Not the old stuff. The old vintage stuff is.
So now you're much
gone.
better.
I'm much better these days, yeah. But anyway, I also, Debbie used to do a thing here. She used to have a casino here. Did you know that?
Well, that was where she gave me my own show.
That was a long
The
time
Debbie
ago.
Reynolds. It was actually it was in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
I had a show called Vegas Live, and we did very, very well. And we moved from 3 nights a week to 4 nights a week to almost 5 nights a week before the locks went on the doors.
Yeah.
And we were closed, but we were sold out every single night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, did you know that she's just written a new book?
Uh-oh.
And she's going to be in L.A. at the Los Angeles Times Book Festival, which is this weekend, and they have several stages there for authors, and she's going to be speaking about her book. Now, I will be in L.A. this weekend.
Tell
I'm there
her
to
I
shoot it.
said hi. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be with Tony Orlando this weekend because he's at the South Point.
Well, you tell Tony I said hi, and I'll tell Debbie
I
you said hi.
said,
And,
you know what? Debbie, if you listen to the interview on my website, we talk about Debbie Reynolds. Tony has a good story about Debbie, and I do too.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Tony and about Debbie and about Senor Wences. I know you have a history with Senor Wences. Well, we hope you've been enjoying the interview that we did a few months ago with Michelle LaFong. I have to also apologize, when we were originally doing our interviews at KLAV, we had the camera set up in such a way that you really couldn't see the faces of the people that we interviewed, except for from time to time they would move into the camera range, then they'd move back behind the microphone. We have since changed that setup, but unfortunately with Miss LaFong we had the old setup. But you do get to see her every now and then. She moves into the camera lens. So let's go to part 2 of Michelle LaFong. We're going to bring you a quick break, and when we come back we'll go right into part 2.
Is your house upside down? Is your house underwater? If you live in Las Vegas, you know exactly what I mean. Hi, I'm Tim Kelly with the Kelly Realty Group at RE/MAX, your local short sale expert. Since 2008, I have had the privilege of working with veterans just like you, helping them get out from under their negative equity. According to a recent Lead Institute report through UNLV, 54% of homes in Clark County are still upside down, meaning their house is worth less than what they owe the bank. Don't worry, I can help. A brand new program has been introduced to Clark County that will allow you to do a short sale and you don't have to move. That's right, do the short sale and stay in your house. However, there are some restrictions and you do have to qualify. Sounds too good to be true, but it is not. So if you or anyone you know is considering a short sale, call me immediately. My website and my phone number are the same, 241-8611, 241-8611.com. And as always, my services are 100% free to veterans, and I even make house calls.
way back in the 1950s, there was a guy by the name of Senor Wences.
Back in the 50s.
It was the 50s.
You think it was the 50s?
Yeah, that's when he first started, when I first became aware of him on the Ed Sullivan Show.
He was before the 50s.
Well, but he made it big on the Ed Sullivan Show
That's
in the
true.
50s.
Here in the America,
Yeah.
yes.
And so he had these puppets, these hand puppets and things of that nature. And unfortunately, he's not with us any longer. But Michelle here is carrying on the tradition. And tell us, how did you come to meet the Senor?
Actually, I was a ventriloquist since the age of 5, and he was my favorite ventriloquist, and I used to go to the Museum of Broadcasting in New York to study him. And I have my main character is named Paco, and oddly enough, he looks like a little bit like Tony Orlando, and I was making a joke about that with Tony, but he really does, because he's based on an ex-boyfriend. And so I took the timing that I learned from Senor Wences, and I started doing like 5 voices at a time with Paco as my main character, and because he was my ex-boyfriend that I brought back to life, I enjoyed throwing him back in the trunk when I was done with him.
And that's Senor Wences used to take his puppets and throw them in the trunk
Well,
and
yes,
close the lid.
yes, close the door, right? And then I'd have them scream from the trunk,
Yeah.
you know what? And basically, I realized that it was very musical, and Senor Wences was very musical, and it sounded to me very rhythmic, and he was all about speed and timing. And that's when I really developed my show, and he caught my show.
Where did he catch that?
Actually, the odd thing is, he was 99 years old. He made it to 103.
Good.
Yes, he was 99 years old, and he was about to turn 100. And my manager at the time, Marty Fisher, he knew that Senor Wences was I idolized him.
Right.
And so he went after Senor Wences to do a tribute to him with other ventriloquists. So he got... remember the guy, Winchell Mahoney?
Yes,
Hooray,
of
hurrah.
course.
Winchell, yeah.
Yes,
Paul
Winchell and Jerry Mahoney.
Yeah.
So
he got him and Willie Tyler and Lester and myself, and we, at the Friars Club, we did a show. We did Atlantic City, where Marty Allen was the host, and we had so many, Mickey Rooney and a lot of people he worked with over the years, do a tribute to him.
Yeah.
And we toured with this, and he fell in love with Paco and the...
So he showed up that first night and saw you do your...
Yeah, and he, you know what, he totally realized that I studied him. He totally realized it, and he got a big kick out of me. And so... we started becoming very good friends. I lived in New York. He lived in New York. And we started going to dinner 3 times a week with his wife. It would be my manager, myself. We'd go to their apartment, which was right around the corner from the deli, 7th Avenue and 55th Street, Carnegie.
Not your deli.
Not my deli, no.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. No, the busy one, the busy deli.
I see, yeah.
And we would go up to his apartment after we went to dinner, and he would open up his trunk, and it was like the grown-ups went into the living room, and Senor Wences and me, the little kids, would go into the trunk and just start playing with all the toys.
Let me ask you though, when he was 99 and 100 and all that, was he still working or was he retired then?
Well, believe it or not, he could work, but he only did like Life Magazine with me and CNN and, like TV appearances, but not shows.
Not live shows.
Not live shows.
Yeah.
Because he had all of his faculties. The only thing was that towards between 100 and 103, he had moments where he would lose it. and start talking Spanish 100%, like I had no idea what he's talking about all of a sudden. And he had no idea why I had no idea.
I see.
And, you know, I hadn't lost it yet myself where I'm speaking Spanish back. But,
Okay.
you know what? I don't speak Spanish at all, even though I took it in school. But my puppet speaks fluently.
Oh,
and
very
so
good.
apparently,
Is that Paco, is that?
yes,
Or-
Paco,
oh,
yes.
okay.
So apparently they were understanding each other, and I had no clue what was going on.
I see how that works.
That's the story of my life.
So is his wife still living?
No. But she did live another few years after him. He married a much younger woman, like 30 years his junior. And, you know, he had a very interesting personality because he was just like a big kid. I mean, really, we'd go out to dinner and he'd take napkins and start making like origami out of the napkin and make it talk. And then he would like be a rascal and try to get me in trouble and make me laugh at inappropriate times.
Yeah, that, I mean, I just couldn't see you getting in trouble or laughing.
Oh, no, I
inappropriately.
know. And then he kicked me under the table when it, you know, it just was, he was so bad. He was such a bad. So then the first time he ever gave me puppets, his wife was totally shocked because he saw that I went crazy when he opened up a certain trunk and I recognized all the puppets by name from the Ed Sullivan Show.
Right.
And he was just so taken by that. And he made every single puppet himself. All of his puppets that he used.
Now, some of the
them.
puppets, he kind of used his hands. Is that it?
Well, just,
Was that,
yes.
And of course,
The most famous.
Obviously, our radio people can't see this, but we are taping this for TV. So,
I will give you a TV
Why don't you
clip.
give us the? Why don't you?
Okay, it's
show
hard because
us
I
it?
don't have the lipstick and
okay,
the
all right,
wig,
yeah.
but I'll give you a clip for the
Okay,
TV
but he used to
thing.
put lipstick on these fingers, and then he had a little wig and
Yes,
some eyes,
and
I
a
think.
body.
And a body. That's right.
Yes,
yeah.
and then he also had a head in the box, and they would fight. The two would fight.
Right.
And what was funny is he would also, at the end, take out a cigarette and be able to do smoke rings while the puppet was singing. Now, of course, today that would be considered gauche, and you couldn't do that because it's a bad example to be smoking with a puppet.
Right.
And so I now do it with chewing gum and a bubble.
Oh, so I'm glad I played that chewing gum song. That
You
really
see?
fit. I didn't even know that. But I was going to suggest instead of smoke rings, you could have maybe used onion rings, but I guess that wouldn't work. Would it?
Actually, you know what?
Oh, I guess it would work.
You got me thinking and hungry. So now I hope you're happy.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it just came to my mind.
No, so
I don't know.
he was great. And then when he gave me the first bunch of puppets, he didn't give me Johnny. Johnny was the lipstick hand puppet, right? He didn't give me that one at first, okay?
see.
But I had to work my way up the chain for that one. The way I got Johnny was he got contacted to do a Mercedes-Benz commercial. And when they saw him, they said his hands were too old on camera. Right? They didn't have Botox yet for hands or fillers, you know. So they held auditions, and I actually beat
Got your
everybody
hands.
out of it.
That's good. That's
so
great. Yeah.
I did the commercial. and
Instead of being a stand-in, you were a hand-in.
a hand-in, I like that.
All right,
A hand-in
all right, yeah.
that likes handouts. So that's perfect.
Okay, okay.
So I got to hand it to you.
Hi, I'm John Fenich. I'm the commander of VFW Post 10,047. We're the largest post in the state of Nevada, and I'm here to tell you what we do, and I'm going to show you what we do inside, but let me tell you a little bit about ourselves. We have a great post home here. We do Sunday breakfasts from 9 in the morning till noon, and then every Friday we have our own family dinners, and we start them at 5 p.m. and we go until 7 p.m. And then after 7 p.m., we bring in our own Brian and Robin with our famous karaoke show. And it's just a family-orientated, warm post where we all come together. Would you like to join me in that?
Hi, I'm Cheryl, one of the bartenders here at Post 10,047. We have a full bar with widescreen TVs for all your sporting events and a great canteen for breakfast and dinner. Please come and join us.
Chuck and Baker, we hope you enjoyed our show. It was a little different today, but it was entertaining. I think it was. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next week. Hey everybody, when you're listening to the radio, make sure you listen to the Veterans Reporter radio show every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. on KLAV. That's 1230 on the AM dial. It's the Veterans Reporter radio show with me, Chuck and Baker.